गोविंद गोपीनाथ मरन मोहन जू की जाय। नित्य ललित विष्णु विष्णुपार अच्युत अच्युत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोस्वामी महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जाय। नित्य ललित विष्णु विष्णुपार अच्युत अच्युत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोस्वामी महाराज की जाय। नित्य ललित विष्णु विष्णुपार अच्युत अच्युत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की जाय। नित्य विष्णु विष्णुपार अच्युत अच्युत शिशिमार भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जाय। नित्य विष्णु विष्णुपार अच्युत अच्युत शिशिमार भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जाय। नित्य विष्णु महाभागवत श्री गोक्षर बाबाजी महाराज की जाय। नित्य विष्णु श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जाय। नित्य विष्णु वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबाजी महाराज की जाय। श्री रूपानुग गौरिया गुरु वार्ग की जाय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शार गोसाई प्रभु की जाय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जाय। नाम आचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जाय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रजमंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जाय। सर्व अभिष्ट विराट गिरिराज महाराज की जाय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जाय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जाय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जाय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जाय। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माया की जाय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जाय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जाय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्री रास-पाñcādhyāyī की जय। श्री निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। ओम विष्णुपदाय राधिकाय प्रियात्मने श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति वेदांत नारायणिति नामिने नमः। ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकायै तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेत्य कृतं द्वैपायनो विरहकातर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुस्तं सर्वभूत हृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतं स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन हृदन्तस्तो ह्यभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सतम्। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भगवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी। तवैवास्मि न जीवामि त्वया विना इति विज्ञाय राधे त्वां नायमां चरणान्तिकम्। भक्त्या विहीना अपराधलक्षय क्षिप्ताष्टकामादितरङ्गमध्ये कृपामयि त्वां शरणं प्रपन्ना वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दं। भज श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Dandavat Pranam Indira Mataji, Gagarajji, Rupmanjari Didi, and everybody else, Haribol. So, okay, I'll just read through everything again. So reading chapter Srimad Bhagavatam 1033, and the last chapter of Rāsa-pañcādhyāyī. Shri Shukadeva Gosvāmī said, O king, hearing Bhagavan Shri Krishna's sweet words relieved the gopis of the last remnants of the distress of separation. All their desires were fulfilled when they received the touch of the limbs of their dearmost beloved, the abode of utmost beauty and sweetness. Those jewels of women, the gopis, whose hearts were fully focused on their beloved, linked their arms together and encircled Govinda, who joyfully inaugurated the playful Ras dance on the enchanting bank of the Yamuna. Shri Krishna's divine Rāsa-līla festival commenced, with thousands and thousands of gopis forming a circle around him. Bhagavan Shri Krishna, the master of mystic yogis, expanded himself and stood between every two gopis and embraced their necks with his arms. Each maiden felt that her beloved was standing next to her alone. The demigods were overcome with excitement to witness this festival and hurried there with their wives in their celestial airplanes, which soon filled up the sky. The divine kettle drums from the heavenly planets started resounding, and flowers rained down as the Gandharvas and their wives sang Shri Krishna's splendid glories. As all the gopis started dancing with their beloved Sundar and the Ras Mandal, the ringing of their armlets, ankle bells, and waist bells mixed together, creating a sweet sound that spread in all directions. In that Ras dance, Bhagavan Shri Krishna was shining in the midst of the Vraj Sundaris like a dazzling blue sapphire surrounded by gold beads. The gopis sang Shri Krishna's nectarian pastimes very sweetly and danced with expert footwork that matched with their artistic and elegant hand gestures. They smiled playfully and arched their eyebrows. Their waists bent dramatically. Their veils covering their breasts, the veils covering their breasts fluttered. Their earrings swung on their cheeks. Their faces perspired, and their braids and waist belts came loose. As the boundlessly beautiful Vraj maidens danced with their lover, they shone like golden streaks of lightning, flashing in a bank of blue clouds. The gopis, excited to dally with their beloved, were singing sweet songs loudly with their beautiful voices, and were dancing. As they drowned in bliss from getting the touch of Bhagavan Shri Krishna, their singing reverberated throughout the entire universe. One gopi was singing her own melody that harmonized with Mukunda Shri Krishna's singing, and then she sang in a pitch that rose above his. Hearing her excellent, unique voice, he became pleased and praised her. Very good, exceptional, exceptional. Another gopi picked up the same melody but sang in a different meter. Shri Krishna honored her also, and that's first one was Vishaka and the second one was Lalita. And now this gopi is Srimati Radhika. One gopi became tired while dancing with her beloved Shri Krishna, so she took hold of Murali Manohar Sham Sundar's shoulder with her arm and rested against him as he was standing next to her. Her bracelets and the jasmine flowers in her braid had become Jai Shri Radhe. Shri Krishna put his soft lotus hand on one gopi's shoulder, his hand naturally scented like a lotus, and now more fragrance being smeared with sandalwood pulp. In response to his aromatic touch, that gopi thrilled with rapture. Her hairs stood on end, and she quickly kissed his hand. Another gopi's earrings were swinging as she was dancing, and the glitter of the earrings made her cheeks shine more. She pressed her cheek against Bhagavan Sri Krishna's cheek. Then he placed his chewed tambul in her mouth. Um, oh wait, so the gopi in the previous verse who kissed his Krishna's hand is Shamala Saki, who had she has pragalbhata, boldness, and then this one who put her cheek next to Krishna's cheek. This one was, who is it? Shaibya. Okay. As one gopi was dancing and singing, a sweet sound emanated from the ringing of her ankle bells and the small bells on her waist belt. When she wearied, she put Achuta's soothing lotus hand on her breasts. And then this gopi was Bhadra, was it? No, it was Padma. Right? I think so. And then there's an eighth Saki, but it wasn't mentioned directly here. But that was Bhadra. Yeah. As the gopis were singing and enjoying love play with their darling Achyuta, the infallible, the exclusive beloved of Lakshmi, as they were enjoying love play with him, he clasped them in a tight embrace with his arms around their necks. The gopis' ears were embellished with lotuses. Their curly locks were swaying against their cheeks, and their lotus faces were sparkling with drops of perspiration. All of these enhanced their unprecedented beauty. Their anklets and bracelets were ringing out, and the flowers in their hair were falling down as they were dancing with Bhagavan Sri Krishna in the Ras Mandal. Bees hummed sweetly in tune with the singing. Ramapati Sri Krishna, the master of the goddess of fortune, danced with the beautiful Vraj maidens, embracing them, holding their hands, casting love-filled glances, smiling, and enjoying carefree, amorous play with them, just as a child plays with his own shadow. O Parikshit, due to the gopis' intimate association with Krishna, their senses were overwhelmed in bliss. The flower garlands around their necks broke and fell down. Their ornaments went topsy-turvy. Their hair became disheveled, and they were unable to keep their veils and blouses in place. When the heavenly damsels sitting in their planes in the sky witnessed Bhagavan Sri Krishna's Raskrida, they became agitated with desire to meet him. The moon was also astonished, along with the stars and other planets. And the demigoddesses were able to see something, but not the demigods. Okay, so that's where we read up to yesterday. Now beginning 19, verse 19. Let me just check everything. Hare Krishna, Sudevi Didi, and Prajumna Prabhu, Mantramurti Mataji, and Champak Didi. Hare Krishna, everybody. Okay. Kritva tavantam atmanam yavatir gopayoshita reme sa bhagavang stavir atmaramo pililaya. Bhagavan Shri Krishna is Atmarama, self-satisfied. Yet he expanded himself in as many forms as there were gopis, in order to enjoy with each and every one of them. Śrīla Śrīdhara Samipad's Bhāvārtha Dīpikā. This verse, starting with Kritva, making, is understood thus. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10.22.4, the young girls prayed to Katyayani Devi to award them the son of Nanda Maharaj as their husband. And this Katyayani Vrat just started yesterday. Today is the second day of Katyayani Vrat. So what did they pray? Katyayani Mahamaye Mahayogin Adishwari Nanda Gopa Sutang Devi Patimme Kurute Namaha. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10.22.27, Bhagavan also blessed these young maidens, telling them, Yatta Bala Vrajasiddha Ma Yema Ramsyata Kshapa. Your desire is fulfilled, and I will play with you in the coming nights. Now return to Vraj. In answer to the prayers of these gopis, and to keep his promise, he appeared in as many forms as there were gopis, and enjoyed with all of them. Śrīla Jīva Gosvāmī Pad's Vaiṣṇava Toṣaṇī. Guys, you won't mind waiting 1 second. I just got really thirsty all of a sudden. Oh, can I have some of that? Yes. Thanks. Okay. Okay, so Śrīla Jīva Gosvāmī Pad's Vaiṣṇava Toṣaṇī. Upon the completion of the Ras dance, Shri Krishna took some rest and then performed a special pastime. This is explained in this verse, Kritva. Shri Krishna is Atma Rama, self-satisfied. Yet he assumed as many forms as there were gopis and began to frolic with them. This is the understanding of Atmana. Srimad Bhagavatam gives many references testifying to his all-pervading nature. For example, Srimad Bhagavatam 10.9.13 says, He has no inside, no outside, no front, no rear. Rather, he is all-pervading. He is not influenced by the passage of time, and due to compassion, he descended in a human-like form. According to this, Shri Krishna has a medium-sized human-like body. Even then, his figure is all-pervasive. He can expand into many identical forms and many different incarnations. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.69.2 gives an example of this. It is most astonishing that Shri Krishna, expanding his one form, simultaneously married 16,000 princesses in separate palaces. He accepted many forms out of his own will, and at the end of the Leela, he became one again. Gopa Yoshita means cowherd maidens. Some are married and some are not. Their Purva Rag is described separately in chapters 21 and 22. Harivangsha also says, 1 second, let me just highlight that word. Okay, so Harivangsha also says, Bhagavan Shri Krishna called the married and the unmarried gopis to the Rasa Stali and enjoyed with all of them in one night. He is Kalagya, the knower of the right time. And he enjoyed himself to his full satisfaction and thus made his youth successful. Sri Rupa Goswami Prabhu has described these amorous pastimes in his Ujjvala Nilamani. Bhagavan exhibits two main features in this imperial Ras Leela. His full sweetness, which is the essence of his godhood, and his what are the two main features that he exhibits? One is his full sweetness, which is the essence of his godhood and his topmost wealth, and the peak of Prem Ras, the ambrosia of divine love. He attracts the entire universe by his beauty, attributes, pastimes, and sweetness. The same Bhagavan has performed this Ras Leela to extend his own special prem. This will be explained in detail in the coming chapters and has also been described in Brihad Bhagavatamritam. He is Atma Rama, meaning that he enjoys to the fullest extent within himself and with each of his devotees, who are like his own self. He manifested himself in as many forms as there were gopis and performed amorous play with them in separate kunjas. Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī Thakur's Sārārtha Darśinī. Kritva is making. Bhagavan Shri Krishna performed confidential pastimes with each gopi in separate kunjas. In order to do this, he expanded himself in as many forms as there were gopis, married and unmarried. He is Atma Ram, yet he enjoyed with the cowherd. Maidens. That means he is self-satisfied, yet he enjoyed with the cowherd maidens. This has been described in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:29-42. Oh, and I forgot what verse we're reading. We're reading up to 25. Okay. It's verse 20. Tasam rati viharena shantanam vadanani sa pramrijat karuna premna shantame nangapanina. O king, when the gopis were very tired from continuous singing and dancing, the most compassionate Bhagavan Shri Krishna lovingly wiped their faces with his soothing lotus hands. Śrīla Swāmī's Bhāvārtha Dīpikā. This verse, Tasam, describes Shri Krishna's abundant mercy for the Vraj Devis. Śrīla Jīva Gosvāmī's Vaiṣṇava Toṣaṇī. Rati Vihar, amorous enjoyment. Rati means the love of a couple for each other, and Vihar expresses various dexterous amorous activities. In the original verse, Rati Viharena, those words are found. But in some places, Tasam Ati Viharena, profuse enjoyment with them, is seen. The meaning of both is the same. The Vraj Sundaris were fatigued from this amorous play, and their faces were perspiring. With great love, Shri Krishna wiped their lotus faces with his comforting hand, and also tied up their disheveled hair. Thus their faces became effulgent. He did so because he is very compassionate, and he cannot tolerate the miseries of others. His compassion reigns on everyone, everywhere. Yet he displays his special mercy when he very lovingly wipes off the perspiration from the Vraj Devi's faces with his comforting hands. Premna, with love. Prem only highlights the good attributes in the object of love and increases one's affection for this object. These gopis have reached the extreme limit of their ecstatic emotions, and this is the supermost speciality of their love. With this kind of love, the quality of compassion comes automatically. Prem is the sole reason for this. Shantamena, most comforting. Shri Krishna's lotus hands naturally give comfort merely by their touch, and if they bestow love, they are even more comforting. The two words pramrijat, wiped, and premna, with love, indicates that Krishna was extremely satisfied with the gopis. Anga, my dear king, is Shukadeva Goswami's love-filled address for Parikshit. Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī Thakur's Sārārtha Darśinī. Rati Viharena. In some versions, Ati Viharena is seen. Observing that the Vraj Sundaris were very tired from their amorous play, Shri Krishna halted their romancing. He wipes the drops of perspiration from their faces with his extremely soothing lotus hands. At the same time, he fanned them, applied sandalwood paste, arranged their dresses, and offered them tambul. Gopyas purat purata kundala kuntalatved kandashriya sudhitaha sanirikshanena manam dadhatyarshabhasya jago kritani punyani tatkararuha sparsha pramodaha. O Parikshit, the beauty of the gopis' cheeks was enhanced by the dazzle of their golden earrings and their bouncing curly locks. They honored Purushottam Bhagavan with loving glances and very sweet nectarian smiles. extremely elated from the touch of Sri Krishna's lotus hands, they started singing about his glories, his glorious auspicious activities. Śrīla Swāmīpad's Bhāvārtha Dīpikā. This verse, Gopya, describes the temperament of the cowherd maidens. The Vraj-Devis honored the greatest hero, Rishabha, Sri Krishna, with their nectar-filled smiles and sweet glances, along with singing out his glories. Their cheeks displayed unparalleled beauty with their glittering golden earrings and curling locks hanging down. The gopis felt extremely delighted by the touch of his nails. Śrīla Jīva Gosvāmīpad's Vaiṣṇava Toṣaṇī. After this, the gopis, highly elated by the touch of Sri Krishna's nails, increased their hero's bliss in three ways: by their beauty, by their nectarian sweet smiles, and by singing his glories. This is a topic discussed in this verse starting with Gopya. The gopis' bright golden earrings and their lustrous curly locks enhanced their beauty. They communicated their sentiments through their glances, coupled with nectarian sweet smiles. And they performed Sankirtan, singing about his glorious pastimes. Śrīdhara Swāmī has used Rishabha to mean husband or master. In verse 7 of this chapter, the best of Munis, Shukadeva Goswami, has revealed the gopis' relationship with Krishna by referring to them as Krishna Vadhu. So why should we keep this secret? Therefore, in this case, Rishabha means husband of the gopis. He is their beloved and their enjoyer, Daita and Ramana. If we accept this principle, then their dealings with each other are not as a married... He is their beloved and their enjoyer, Daita and Ramana. If we accept this principle, then their dealings with each other are not as a married couple. Rather, the gopis enticed Sri Krishna with their beauty and sidelong glances, and thus gave him supreme joy. He was now lamenting, "Oh, it is my great fortune that these brides, these vadus, are honoring me so much. Alas, I brought infamy upon myself by abandoning such beloveds who are my own swarup." The word Rishabha points out the super excellence of Krishna's pastimes. Kirtani Punyani indicates that the gopis started singing Krishna's auspicious and attractive names, forms, and qualities. Their excellent singing ability was transmitted. I'm so confused by this. Okay, it says their excellent singing ability was transmitted into the gopis by the touch of his lotus hands. Okay, never mind. Although the gopis themselves are completely expert in singing his glories, they were still silent due to their loving anger. So, to inspire them, Krishna touched them. They were very tired from their amorous play, but they became most happy and sang with great joy. Thanks, David Marcus. In the previous verse and this one, Hela Anubhav, amorous passionate desire, is shown. That's you. When one attains the pure state of spiritual existence, sattva, nothing will disturb his consciousness, even in the face of due cause. The first ecstatic symptom of this pure state is bhav. Just as the seed does not germinate until the appointed time, even though there may be rain, similarly, in the pure state of existence, bhav does not manifest until one is about to enter adolescence, via sandhi, and receives Krishna's darshan, which stimulates their bhav. The next stage is hava, which is symptomized by provocative gestures, like tilting the head, arching the eyebrows, and casting sidelong glances. When this hava indicates amorous passionate desires, it is known as hela. That's in the Radha Kripa Kataksha Stavaraj. Was it Ashesha Hava Bhava Dhira Hira Hara Bhushite? That's referring to these three terms. One is Bhav, Hav, Hava, and Hela. Hmm. So this is a different kind of bhav than like, the stage of bhav and sadhan. No, this is um, very high stage. And hava is symptomized by provocative gestures like tilting the head, arching the eyebrows, and casting sidelong glances. And when this indicates amorous, passionate desires, it is known as hela. Interesting. Okay. Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī Thakur's Sārārtha Darśinī. After this, all those Vraj Sundaris who had brought their lover under their control came out of their kunjas and gathered together in one place. They were bedecked with jeweled ornaments, having been decorated by their most beloved Krishna. They started singing auspicious songs to mark the finale of the Ras festival. All this has been explained in this verse Gopya. The cheeks of the Vraj Devis were glowing with the dazzle of their golden earrings and curling locks. They were flashing nectarian smiles at that best of heroes, Rishabha Krishna. Overjoyed from the touch of his nails, these gopis were singing about Sri Krishna's enchanting leelas which purify the three worlds. Tabiryuta shamamapo hitamanga sangha Grishtasraja sakucha kumkumaranjitaya Gandharva palibhiranudruta avishadva Shranto gaji bhiribharad iva bhinna setu. Bhagavan's forest flower garland had been crushed from the gopis' tight embraces and was colored with the saffron paste from their breasts. Attracted to the aroma of the garland, hordes of bees were buzzing all around him, and like the topmost Gandharvas, were singing his glories. So the bees were buzzing all around him, and like the topmost Gandharvas, were singing glories. That's kind of cool. They followed him as he entered the Yamuna in the company of all the gopis to alleviate his fatigue. Bhagavan Shri Krishna broke all barriers of social customs and Vedic morality and engaged in water games with the cowherd damsels, just as the king of elephants, who, wary from conjugal play, rushes into a pond or a river with his consorts and sports in the water. Srila Śrīdhara Swamipad's Bhāvārtha Dīpikā. The present verse, starting with Tabir, describes the water sports. Krishna's garland had been crushed from the tight embraces of the gopis and was colored with the saffron pastes from their breasts. Attracted by the fragrance of the kundamala, swarms of bees who were singing like the topmost Gandharvas started following him. Sri Krishna entered in the water, demolishing all social etiquette and Vedic morality, just as an elephant tramples a dike along a river. What's a dike? A dike is a low wall, a ditch or watercourse. A low wall or earthwork serving as a boundary or defense. Okay. Srila Jīva Gosvāmī Pad's Vaiṣṇava Toṣaṇī. After all this, Sri Krishna was extremely happy. This verse, Tabi, and the next two describe his love-filled activities. Surrounded by the gopis, he entered the Yamuna to mitigate his and the gopis' exhaustion. One might ask, how is it possible that Bhagavan got tired? The answer is that tiredness comes when Bhagavan enacts his ambrosial love-filled human-like pastimes, being intensely absorbed. The special intention of the phrase Anga Sangha, close contact with the gopis, is that the bodies of the Vraj gopis, who are worshipped by Padmini ladies, naturally emit a most exquisite fragrance. Okay, let's see what Padmini ladies are. Let's look at the footnote. According to Bharata Muni, there are 4 classes of women, the topmost being Padmini. And that means like lotus-like women. Okay. Kucha kumkuma ranjitaya. His crushed garland was smeared with the kumkum from the gopis' breasts, emitting an extraordinary aroma. Bees were intoxicated by this pure scent and were following Krishna. This indicates that this aromatic crushed garland was made of white kunda, of white jasmine flowers, now even more beautiful due to the pinkish tint coming from the gopis' kumkum. All these ingredients are udipan, that they're stimuli for amorous play in the water. Desiring to continue their erotic adventures, he entered the Yamuna. The example is that of a king of elephants who loves to sport with his female companions in the water. In the same way, Sri Krishna was attracted to play in the water with the gopis. Śrīdhara Swāmī has explained the rest. Swarms of bees, singing like the best of Gandharvas, followed Sri Krishna. Vishvakosh explains that the Gandharvas are the topmost singers. Thus, it is understood that the bees were singing the most appropriate songs for the accompanying water sports. With whom did Sri Krishna, in the grip of erotic desire, enter the water? With all the gopis, who were wearing garlands that had been crushed by his embrace and whose bodies were smeared all over with their own kumkum. Bhinna setu, breaking the embankments. In this way, just as an extremely tired elephant displays his insolence by breaking the muddy embankments upon entering a body of water, Sri Krishna, showing the same impudence, entered the Yamuna with great fanfare to relieve his own fatigue and the tiredness of the gopis as well. In the present verse, Sa Kucha Kumkuma is written. In some versions, Swa, extraordinary, Kucha Kumkum is seen. The meaning of Sa is he, that Krishna whose body had been smeared with extraordinary kumkum from the gopis' breasts. After he entered the Yamuna, her waters also took on this reddish color. Śrīdhara Swāmī has used Sa, meaning that very Krishna. He has not acknowledged Swa. Okay. Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura's Sārārtha Darśinī. Upon completion of the Ras festival, Krishna and the Vraj-sundaris bathed and played in the water to alleviate their fatigue after dancing and enacting many amorous arts. Tabir Yuttaha means with them. With whom? The answer is with those garlands. Probably should say which here. Anyways. No, I don't know why I was reading that right. The answer is with those whose garlands had been crushed from Krishna's close embrace, and who are smeared with the saffron paste from their own breasts in the rapture of the romantic rendezvous. In some versions, Swa Kucha Kumkum is seen in place of Sa Kucha Kumkum. Sa indicates Krishna. Swarms of humming bees followed him, singing like the best of Gandharvas. Vishvakosh explains that the word Gandharva represents those who are the best of singers. Surrounded by the gopis, Sri Krishna entered the Yamuna to relieve his exhaustion. Bhinna setu means breaking the earthen embankments. Just as a king of elephants breaks the muddy dikes as he restlessly charges into the water with his she-elephants, in the same way, Sri Krishna transgressed social etiquette and Vedic injunctions as he entered the Yamuna with the gopis for water sports. Sombhasyalam yuvatibhi parishichamana premnekshita prahasati bhiritastatonga vaimanikai kusuma varshibhidyamano reme swayam saratiratra gajendra lila. O Parikshit, in the Yamuna, the gopis splashed water on Krishna from all sides and laughed loudly as they gazed upon him with great love. Seeing this, the demigods in their airplanes started singing his glories and released a shower of flowers. In this way, the self-satisfied Lord engaged in water play with the Vraj Ramanis like a king of elephants. Śrīla Swāmī Bhāvārtha Dīpikā. Although Sri Krishna is Atmarama, self-satisfied, he sported in the water with the assembly of gopis. Śrīla Jīva Gosvāmī Vaiṣṇava Toṣaṇī. This verse depicts their water sports. Once they were in the water, the very expert and intoxicated Rajramanis who were ready to play surrounded the supremely ingenious jokester, Sri Krishna, and sprinkled him with water on all sides. Internally also, his heart was melting from their love-filled sidelong glances. Externally, he was bathed with water, and internally with their love. Thus, he was fully absorbed in amorous dalliance. What were the Rajdevis doing as they were splashing Krishna? Joyfully intoxicated, they were laughing, smiling, and gazing at him again and again. Shri Krishna began his amorous antics with them, making them wet inside and out. Although he is Atmarama, he performed this supremely powerful lila in the water, just like a king of elephants. This Jala Vihar Lila, Krishna playing in the water with the gopis, is very endearing. The demigod showered flowers from their airplanes and glorified Sri Krishna with choice hymns, broadcasting his supremely exalted position. However, they could not witness this pastime because they were unqualified. They were able to see the Maharas, but Yogamaya hid the confidential scenes of the Ras Lila from them. Does that mean that they were able to see the dance, the Ras dance, but then all these different Leelas of Ras, these Ras Krida, they weren't able to see? I think so. Anga, O king. Shukadev Goswami addressed Maharaj Parikshit joyfully. Śrīla Swāmī explains the rest. Swārati. Swa means one's own, and Rati means attachment. So these words means dedication to one's own people, in other words, to the gopis, to whom Krishna is extremely attached. This is the reason that he is not so much satisfied when he defeats the gopis. Rather, he prefers to be defeated by them. Parikshit asked Sri Shukadev, "Can you mercifully describe Krishna's water sports in detail?" Completely absorbed in this lila, Shukadev answered, "Swarati, Swa uncommon, Rati water play. I do not find any suitable examples for this lila, so I am unable to speak in detail." Srila Viśvanātha Cakravartī Thakur's Sārārtha Darśinī. Prem Nekshita, glancing with love. In some versions, Prem Nokshita, moistened with love, is seen. Sri Krishna is Atma Rama, yet he performed all these leelas because of Swarati. Swa means wealth, and Rati means playing. These play-filled pastimes are Sri Krishna's wealth. Tatascha Krishna Pavane Jalastala Prasuna Gandhanila Jushta Diktate Chachara Bringa Pramada Ganavrito Yatha Mada Chud Dviradha Karenubhi. Shri Krishna then emerged from the Yamuna and started roaming in a charming flower garland on the riverbank. A gentle breeze was blowing, making the whole atmosphere vibrant with the heavy aroma of all the blossoming flowers growing on the land and in the water. Surrounded by the Vraj maidens and the bees, he seemed like an intoxicated king of elephants, wandering about with his she-elephants. Śrīla Swāmī Bhāvārtha Dīpikā. After the descriptions of Krishna's play on the land and in the water, the present verse gives an account of his roaming in the woods. In this garden on the bank of the Yamuna, all the directions were laden with the scent of the land and the water flowers. Surrounded by the gopis and bees, he started wandering around like a king of elephants. Śrīla Jīva Gosvāmī Vaiṣṇava Toṣaṇī. After the pastimes of playing in the water, his roaming in the woods is described. Intent on performing more romantic escapades for further enjoyment after bathing, Sri Krishna and the gopis changed their outfits and put on new dresses suitable for strolling. They moved here and there, picking flowers, playing hide and seek in the nikunjas, and performing other amusing pastimes. The bees hovered about when they were plucking flowers, because although the colorful ointments decorating their bodies had been washed away while playing in the water, they were still emitting a natural sweet aroma. In the midst of the bees and lovely gopis, Shri Krishna was wandering around like an intoxicated elephant who emits an aromatic secretion from his forehead. Because Krishna was so fragrant, the bees were surrounding him. The example of Dviradha, an elephant, highlights Krishna's excellence and his attachments to his beloveds. Srila Viśvanātha Cakravartī Thakur's Sārārtha Darśinī. After the conclusion of their water sports, they dried off and put on fresh clothes and ornaments brought by forest goddesses. Accompanied by the gopis, Sri Krishna started roaming in this small forest on the bank of the Yamuna, replete with thousands of kunjas. From all directions, refreshing breezes were blowing, aromatic from the flowers in the woods and in the water. Shri Krishna picked many flowers, tucked them into the gopis' hair. The bees, attracted by the fragrance of the flowers, hovered around the gopis and Shri Krishna. The whole picture was reminiscent of an intoxicated elephant who, exuding a fragrant fluid from his forehead that attracts many bees, cavorts with his she-elephants. Krishna also, in the same way, was enjoying himself with his beloveds. Shri Krishna also, in the same way, was enjoying himself with his beloveds. Sorry. Okay, verse 25. We're going to end with this verse. Evam shashankang shuvirajita nisha sasatta kama nurata balagana sisheva atmanyavaruddha sorata sarva sharat kavya katarasashraya. O Parikshit, this autumn night, which included many other nights within it, was extremely beautiful. The whole area was lit up by the moonlight, and all those ecstatic ingredients of the autumn season that poets describe were fully present. Bhagavan Shri Krishna performed transcendental pastimes along with his most beloved gopis on the bank of the Yamuna, in her waters and in the forest, and thus fulfilled his purpose. By this Leela, he completely subdued Cupid, who derives his existence from Shri Krishna, as well as the God, how do you say that word? Concomitant actions and reactions resulting from mundane lust. He subdued Cupid and the actions and reactions resulting from mundane lust. Okay. Śrīla Śrīdhara Bhāvārtha Dīpikā. This verse, Evam, concludes the whole Raslila, the grand festival in which Sri Krishna, whose desires are completely pure, accomplished his goal by performing his amorous play with his beloved gopis throughout the whole night. This night was replete with all the ecstatic ingredients described in poems about the autumn season, beautified by the moon rays. It sheltered Shringar Ras and served Sri Krishna. Although Bhagavan Shri Krishna was surrounded by the best of jewel-like women and was performing erotic games with them, he never lost his composure, and Cupid was unable to gain victory over him. Srila Jīva Gosvāmī Vaiṣṇava Toṣaṇī. This verse, Evam, sums up the Raslila that took place on the full moon autumn night. It also includes the Raslilas that occurred on other full moon nights, as well as the other amorous pastimes performed at different times. Sharat Kavya Katha refers to the subject matter inspiring the poets, namely the moonlit autumn nights, which are laden with all kinds of ingredients for stimulating Shringar Ras, when Sri Krishna enjoys this ever ongoing dance festival of love. Each season of the year has its own flavor, and this special Ras Lila night contained all these flavors in full, all the flavors of all the seasons. Thus, Sri Krishna was able to perform this Ras Lila with an unlimited variety of activities. It is to be understood here that the word Sharad, autumn, includes all 6 seasons. The phrase Sarvanisha, all these nights, indicates Krishna's other amorous pursuits as well, like secretly entering the gopis' houses, calling them for abhisar, and sleeping with them in the kunjas. These episodes occur in both moonlit and dark nights as well. There is no mention of any specific lila here, but it is to be understood that all kinds of romantic escapades were going on. Rasashraya. Poets from the entire length and breadth of the country and throughout the ages have recorded descriptions of the autumn nights in their lyrical narrations to the best of their ability. Thus, their poems become the repositories of all the moods contained in Shringar Ras. All these were present in the Sharadiya Ras Lila, and Sri Krishna enjoyed them to his full satisfaction. But it is to be noted that in all these poetries, transcendental ras is the primary element. There is not even a scent of mundane lust. The question arises, how did they enjoy? The answer is Sārārtha. Krishna enclosed within his heart all of the gopis' gestures, including their conjugal desires, and reached an unprecedented state of joy. He was unable to ignore their invitations. No one special action on the part of the gopis attracted him. Rather, it was the sum total of all their expressions. An example of this is found in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:60-58. Bhagavan Devaki Nandan is Atmaram, self-satisfied, yet he enjoyed conjugal affairs with Rukmini Devi, performing human-like pastimes and engaging in love chatter, Sārārtha Sanglap. Atmanyavaruddha Sārārtha. Why did he lock up in his heart all the gopis' gestures indicating their amorous desires? The answer is this. All those fair maidens were obsessed with love for him, and all their actions were arising out of anurag. The main reason is their transcendental love for him, and not the mundane lust of this world. Shri Krishna is Satyakam. His desires are spotless, devoid of the scent of any fault. Shri Parashar and Vaishampayan have said, in this way, encircled by the Vraj Gopis, Bhagavan Shri Krishna, who is the abode of happiness, attains supreme delight in the full moon autumn night. Srila Śrīdhara Swāmī has said, Shri Krishna enjoyed all those nights, the beauty of which is recorded in poems glorifying Shringar Ras. But he kept his erotic feelings tucked away inside his heart and did not let them flow out as ordinary humans are wont to do. This indicates his victory over Cupid. In this statement, he has explained the word Sārārtha in a way that is not generally accepted. One may question why he has done this. It should be understood that he has done so to affirm that Bhagavan is not under the dominion of Cupid. Srila Viśvanātha Cakravartī Thakur's Sārārtha Darśinī. And this is the last thing we're reading. This verse, starting with Evam in this manner, summarizes this autumn night Ras Lila, which includes a variety of activities. Due to the influence of Yogamaya, the nights were brightly illuminated by the moon and sheltered all kinds of ingredients favorable for Shringar Ras. In this way, Shri Krishna derived great delight in performing confidential Ras Vilas in Vrindavan, taking advantage of Sisheva these nights. Shri Krishna is the subject of all these activities. That is why all these nights offered themselves to him for his pleasure, for the performance of all his amorous affairs. It is to be understood that Krishna accepted the service with great honor, just as devotees respect Mahaprasad. His romantic dallyings are not mundane, rather, they are transcendental. The phrase Satyakam means that Sri Krishna is the original, ever existent personality replete with transcendental desires. Anuratha Balagana is an adjectival phrase describing Krishna. Now, that's not how you say it. I just made up a word. Adjectival. Anyways, whatever. So it's Anurata, means always attached to Krishna. Abala Gana, all those gentle natured women. By the use of the word Abala, lovely ladies, it is shown that the Vraj Devis were completely swayed in his love. Sri Krishna was fully engrossed day and night in his romantic pleasures with them. Transcendental amorous play is symptomized by Atmana Viruddha Saurata, which refers to Krishna keeping within his heart all their displays of amorous feelings, like hav, bhav, provocative gestures, vivoka, neglect, and kila kinchita, a medley of contradictory emotions spurred by jubilation. Their vyabhichari bhavs, such as vamya, contrariness, otsukya, eagerness, and harsha. Their sattvika bhavs, like stamba, being stunned, sweda, perspiring, and vaivarna, changing color, as well as the anubhavs of darshan, seeing, sparshan, touching, sanglap, conversing, and alingan, embracing. This is a symptom of transcendental romantic play, sorata. All these emotions are hinted at in the phrase sorata sanglap in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:60-58. Evam sorata sanglapar Bhagavan Devaki Sutta Swarato Ramaya Reme Naralokam Vidambayan. One second. Bhagavan Devaki Nandan, imitating human-like pastimes, spoke love chatter and enjoyed romantic dalliance with Rama. Uh-oh. I feel a bunch of sneezes. Okay. The word sanlap ordinarily denotes conversations, but in this special case, it means romantic talks. The word sorata carries its usual meaning and includes all romantic gestures and feelings. Sarva Sisheve means he made use of all the nights of the 12 months. One second. What was the nature of those nights? Sharatavya Kata Rasasha. These nights were surcharged with all the ingredients of Ras, which are depicted in the poems describing autumn nights. Amarakosh dictionary defines the word Sharat as all 6 seasons of the year. This particular Raslila night sheltered the sum total of those poetic narrations of the 6 seasons. All the pure-hearted Rasik poets have described in their lyrical compositions Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes predominated by Shringar Ras that took place in all the nights of the entire year. They include all the ancient poets such as Vyasadeva, Parashar, and many more, and also more recent poets such as Jayadev, Lila Shuka, Govardhanacharya, and Rupa Goswami. However, they could not cover the subject matter fully. I also am unable to completely describe all these romantic pastimes that Krishna performed, although have tried to the best of my ability. So now, from tomorrow, we will continue on with this verse 26. And I'll just read the translation of this next verse. Maharaj Parikshit questioned, O best of sages, Bhagavan Shri Krishna, the Lord of the entire creation, advented along with his plenary portion Balaram to establish religiosity and to annihilate irreligion. He himself institutes, guards, and instructs religion and moral principles. Why then did he violate them by touching other men's wives? So we'll hear the answer to this question tomorrow. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. जय श्री श्री गुरु गौरांग गंधारिक गिरिधारी श्री श्री राधा विनोद बिहारी जो की जाय श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मरन मोहन जो की जाय नित्य लीला प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अश्वत रशत शिशिमार भक्तिवेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जाय नित्य लीला प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद शिशिमार भक्तिवेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जाय नित्य लीला प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अश्वत रशत शिशिमार भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की जाय नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अशतर शतशिमार भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जाय नितिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अशतर शतशिमार भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जाय नितिल प्रविष्ट महाभागवत शिल गोक्षरस बाबाजी महाराज की जाय नितिल प्रविष्ट शिल सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जाय नितिल प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम शिल जगन्नाथ दास बाबाजी महाराज की जाय श्री रूपानुगौरिया गुरु वार्ग की जाय श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शार गोसाई प्रभु की जाय श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जाय नाम आचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जाय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जाय सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदात गिरिराज महाराज की जाय श्री राधा कुंद श्याम कुंद की जाय श्री मुन देवी गंगा देवी की जाय श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जाय श्री भक्ति देवी की जाय श्री पूर्णमासी योग माय की जाय श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जाय श्री कत्यायनी व्रत की जाय सर्वव्रज देवी गण की जाय श्री रास-पाñcādhyāyī की जाय रासेश्वरी श्री विश्वभानु नंदिनी श्रीमती राधा ठाकुरानी की जाय श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जाय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जाय श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशवाय कृष्ण भक्ति प्रदेवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. So this is really the whole climax of the entire Srimad Bhagavatam that we just completed today, the Maharas. So yeah, see you all tomorrow. Jai Shri Radhe. Prajumna Prabhu, in answer to your question, can we pray to Devi to get Krishna? Well, we don't pray to Mahamaya, we pray to Yogamaya. And so, yeah, there's a beautiful kirtan by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. What is it? Amar Samanhina Nahi E Sangsari. It's a very beautiful song to Yogamaya. And we pray, Nishkapata Hoye Mata Chao More Pane. Oh, oh, oh Yogamaya, please do not be duplicitous with me. Don't be nishkapat. And so don't show yourself as Mahamaya to me. I only am praying to you as in your form as Yogamaya. And Vaiṣṇava Vishvasa Vriddhi Hok Pratikshani. At every moment, please increase my Vishvas, my faith in the Vaishnavas. So, in this month especially, when all the gopis are praying to Katyayani Devi, we can also pray to Yogamaya like this, that we are in faith in the Vaishnavas always increase, and that we come under the control of Yogamaya, not Mahamaya. Do you have audio for that, Bhajan? I think so. I can look. All right, everybody. See you all tomorrow. Jai Shri Radhe. Is it on the Gaudiya Kirtan app? I don't know. You have to look. All right. Hari Bol, everybody. Jai Shri Radhe.